Before we start, can I make a gentle request to everybody to please have your cameras on so that we can see you and we're not just talking to a box, we're actually talking to humans. 3 seconds, turn on your cameras. There we go, I can see 1, 2, 3, yep, keep going, keep going. Very nice. I see a room full of people. Is that O'Connell?
Yeah.
Hi, O'Connell. Yeah, everyone else?
Hello.
There we go. Yeah, so there's a class. Yeah, so these guys over here, they're over at the
in one class.
Yeah, they're over in the Sydney campus.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, everyone else, cameras on. There we go. We got 2 pages now. So if I go to, yeah. Okay. Looking pretty good. Yeah. All right, cool. So we want to see you so we know who we are talking to. And also, I think, can I relate it to today's content? That when you are wanting to apply for a job, I think one of the first things that we're looking for is how you're presenting yourselves, isn't it? So this is a workshop that's relating to that. So let's probably start by making ourselves visible on camera. So Anne, our lovely presenter, can actually see you as well as how you can see her. I think it's also just a very common level of respect towards the person who is speaking with you in this session. Yeah, so let's maintain our cameras on for the most part of the session, okay? Everyone else have your cameras on? Yeah, it's slowly flicking. Okay. Thank you, everybody. So I'm going to leave this to Anne now, or Andrew. Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Nora. As Nora just stated, the really important thing is that this is a professional development workshop, and it is about the right things to do when you're applying for work and how you present yourself. So please don't take that lightly. There's going to be some really good information today. So before we start, I will just say that if anybody has any questions, if you're in the room, please raise your hand. If you're online, then please raise the online hand or put a question in the chat, and then I'll relate that question to Anne. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Anne McDowell, who's going to speak to you today, and we're going in for a wonderful session. So thanks for joining us, everyone, and over to you, Anne.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you. Just mic myself up. Hi, everyone. I'm Anne McDowell, and I'm the Positivity and Transformation Specialist and the Strategic Career Specialist. So I have been in business doing this for over 21 years now, and I have been influencing people in their career decisions for nearly 30 years now. So just a couple of little weeks, not that long. I have a master's degree in Human Resource Management and Industrial Relations, and I graduated from the Newcastle University in the year 2000. So I've been practicing what I preach for a very long time. I've been in the Australian marketplace, since I joined the workforce in 1990, so I'm a little older than most of the cohort in this room. But I have seen a lot of change. And Nora asked me just before we started today, have I seen a lot of change in the employment sector? Yes, I have. I've seen a tremendous amount of change. And so one of the things that I'm going to be doing today to talk to you about is what's been going on. What's been going on in the changes in the workplace, and to be responsive to what works now, as opposed to what worked maybe a couple of years ago, prior to COVID, prior to, the global financial crisis. There are things that are different now, and with the introduction of AI, there are things that are different now to what they used to be. So we're going to go on a little bit of a journey over the next 45, 50 minutes to talk to you about what's happening now. Okay, so these are just some of the things that I do. So I do a lot of different things, but all of it is connected to people and communication of messages. So I am a communicator of messages. Okay, let's start. This is my first time using a smart board, so bear with me. Make sure I get it right. Okay, so I've been a recruiter also. So I worked in professional recruitment as well as what I'm doing in my business. So I worked in a coal mine and I've worked at Newcastle Council and I've also worked at an engineering agency for recruitment. So I see it on both sides of the fence. One of the important things that we need to remember is that it's not just a resume that we need in our 21st century briefcase for careers. We need a few different things in it, okay? And there's a couple of reasons why. And that is because when we submit our resume, that is only like a tiny, tiny little bit of what a person needs to know about you in order for you to be able to get a job. Would you agree? Would you agree with the people? Because it's much more than that. And you've got so much more to offer. And you can only put so much information in a resume, and you have lots of other opportunities, such as in your interview, to talk about who you are, what you're good at, the things that you can do. So I've put together this career briefcase to help you understand there's not just your resume. All right, so I'll explain them to you now, what's in it first. So a professional development session is what we're doing together today. So this is to help you understand, you know, without reading it just on paper, but also hearing the messages about what you might need to do. Then you need to be strategic in your job search. And for the group in the room, you heard Andrew say to you just a few minutes before we started, it's about being strategic. And we're going to talk about what that actually means, okay? The third part of your briefcase is going to be your resume and a cover letter to go with the job that you're applying for. Okay, we'll talk about that all in detail shortly. The next part, and this is directly for jobs in government, in the not-for-profit sector, and the higher education sector, such as universities or TAFE or any government-styled organisation like that. They have a different system. And so in terms of that, there's a little bit more that you need to know. We'll come to that. The next part is hands up for the people in the room and also online. Do you have a LinkedIn profile yet? Some yes. Good. Okay, we'll talk about that and what you need. So that's great. Good start. So some of you have already got this part in your briefcase already. Well done. And the last bit here is interview coaching and the skills that are required to become a good candidate to interview. Because this is part of how you then communicate to a prospective employer all the wonderful things that you can do. Okay, because what they need to see is whether your resume matches who you are. And that's the spot that they're going to find that out. Okay, so after studying, your immediate thought is that you need to get a job. I need to get a job. I've worked so hard. I'm ready to get a job. But we need to ask ourselves, what kind of job? What do we know what does a job look like? What sorts of things do we think we're going to be doing in the job? Because what you might think the job is may not be what the job is. Okay, so you have to do your research. Now, you're all students. All of you are students. You're used to doing research. It doesn't stop in the classroom. Okay? Every time you go on to Seek or to Indeed or look on the old-fashioned thing in a newspaper or go online, you must research the job that you're going to go for to make sure you fit that job. You need to ask yourself about the titles, the job titles. Are the job titles matching what I think that they mean? Or are they something a little bit different to what I was expecting? So they're the things you have to ask yourself. All right. Are you qualified for that particular role? And I know that you're doing all these amazing qualifications and you're skilling yourself. So you would expect that, yes, you would be qualified for that role. But do you have the experience that they're looking for in order to apply? What level of job are you applying for? That's something to consider. Is your industry highly competitive? Well, I'm sure it is. And I'm just going to say a blanket yes to that. Are you missing anything in your skill set for that job? Do you have all of the essential skills that are going to be required? You might say, absolutely, yes, I'm ready to go. Or you might say, I've got 90%, but I haven't got the other 10%. These are self-analysing, introspective questions that we need to ask as job seekers, as people who are going out into the workforce. We need to make sure that we've got everything we need, all right? And the reason I'm going to say this now, and I'll say it again later, it's because I don't want you to set yourself up for disappointment when you get a no, sorry, we're not taking you to interview, because it's about what you've got in your information, in your resume and your cover letter, but also your skill set. Does it match the job? Okay, so career briefcase. We're all on board to get ready and get our career briefcase happening. Woohoo! Let's go. So the first part, the professional development part. Now, I said to you before about the changes that have happened. And one of the changes that have happened, thank you, Jerry, the changes that have happened has been from COVID, because people are working from home a lot more. People are looking at the advantages of being able to work from home. Quiet space, don't have to travel, you don't have to pay the tolls in Sydney. We hear about that on the news a lot. The hour to and from work and, long hours. You might be saying to yourself, yes, that's exactly what I want. Or you might be saying to yourself, I really like something that I can work from home at least 3 days a week or 2 days a week. So these are all decisions and questions you need to ask yourself before you start putting everything together for a resume and a cover letter and start applying for jobs. Is it a mixture of both that you want? Is it working full-time? Is it working part-time? Is it working on a contract basis? And a lot of Australian employers will only employ on a contract basis now. Generally, it's 12 months. Now, that is not unusual now. That started to come in about 15 years ago because of economic volatility. So when the markets went up and down and there was high unemployment, and employers were only able to promise a year's worth of employment. Okay, so don't be worried if they say it's a contract and it's only for 12 months. That's normal practice in Australia, and there were reasons why. Do you want to work for a labour hire company, for example? You might be working in their IT department or their project management department, and not as a labour hire person, but maybe you are. Who knows? Are you looking to be around creative or innovative people? What's the answer? How about I ask the question? Do you think you would like to be in an organisation where everybody's really creative? Does that sound something that you would like? Or is it like, I just want structure? Creation or structure? Creation and structure? There's a bit of both. Okay, there's a bit of both here. Good. Okay. But that's something that you need to consider. What's the type of role that you're going to be looking for? Is it going to be something that's going to be creative, or is it really structured that you're wanting? If it was a startup, a tech startup, yes, there's going to be a lot of procedure, but maybe there's a lot of vision and a lot of creation and a lot of innovation that you have to come up with. You have to make sure you're comfortable with that before you apply. All right, so is the company big that I'm wanting to work for, or is it small? Is it a big company or is it a startup? Is it that I want to have access to lots of training and development, or am I just wanting to, work in a quiet space where I get information given to me and I work on projects and structure and design and, whatever it is that you like to do? Do I want to absorb and learn? Do I want to be in an environment that has a really, really good training and development plan, professional development plan? And they talk about that in the ad. Is that what I want? Or is it that, I just want to absorb and be a sponge? You have that choice as well. And the last part there is, do I want to shape and influence? Depending on what your qualification is, if you're at master's level, you might be wanting to say, I'm ready to shape and influence. That's what I do in my life, in my business. I like to shape and influence people. You might be wanting to shape and influence innovation. I don't know. So these types of questions are really important for you to ask and ask yourself. So what I suggest is, as part of this professional development search and things that you're doing, you need some quiet time. You need some quiet time on your own. And, for the beautiful people here who have access to the beach is a very good place to sit yourself down and just watch the waves and just listen. And then think. Think about what it is that you are wanting. Use these questions and you'll instantly know what you feel comfortable in doing, first off. And as you get more experience, as you get more exposure, as you get more your skill set increases in being in a workplace, you'll then say to yourself, I'm ready for a change. I'm ready to start shaping. I'm ready to start influencing. But you may not be there at that point yet, and that's totally okay, because it's about you. All right. It's not about competing with each other. It's about what skills and opportunities you want for you, for your growth, for your career. Now, last point here, it's very tempting when you're looking for work and that you are needing some money to come in to apply for everything. One resume, multiple cover letters, and sending out 20, 30, 40 applications a week. I understand that temptation because it's about the money. There's a couple of things that happen. One is that you send out so many applications that they're not targeted. They're just what I call a bit of a scatter approach. It's like a hit and miss. I send out 40, 50 applications this week, and I wonder then why I'm getting no after no after no after no. What that does is destroys your soul. Okay? It really does the opposite to what you think it will do. It upsets you. It makes you disappointed. It makes you upset. And it makes you a little bit depressed, and you start doubting your abilities. And I don't want that to happen for anyone. And when I talk to my clients about this, I say, be strategic. Choose maybe 5 to 7 jobs that you might want to apply for. You're still gaining momentum. You're still actively doing your job search. You're still putting in the hard effort, but you're not opening the world to say no to you at this point, because we do not want your confidence to drop. That's why Andrew said be strategic, and that's why I am saying be strategic, and I'll show you how, okay? So it's very, very important to not overdo it, okay? All right. So the next part of it is going to be looking at your resume. Now, resumes are different now to what they used to be in the past. In the past, when Andrew and I were growing up, and that's how old we are, old, but in the past, it used to be what we called a chronological history. So dot points, yes. So, oh, did I miss one? Oh, here we go. Let's go back one. Thank you. Make sure you tell me because I'm having a little trouble seeing with my glasses, without my glasses. Thank you for that. So let's go back. Let's be strategic in our job search. Okay. With the other thing, and the top point is about noise and distractions. When I said about the lots, the volume of applications that you're putting in together, it's about external noise and external distractions. You'll get, sometimes you'll get a rejection straight away. Other times you might get a rejection, in a couple of weeks, and you might never hear from that company again, and it's wasted time and effort. So that's why I just wanted to go over that point and say that it's about being strategic. So here's a couple of tips on how to be strategic. Choose companies that you actually want to work with. Now, in your qualifications and the area of expertise that you are currently in, hands up those who have identified, and I'm sorry I can't really see you in up there, but I'll ask the room, how many times have you identified the types of companies you want to actually work for? Raise your hand if you've done that. Good, a couple? Okay. For those who haven't done that yet, start doing that. That's number one. So in terms of that, let's just say for the sake of argument, you were in software and IT development, I'm just guessing, and you want to work for Atlassian, okay? Big company, work from home, yeah, really cool boss, all of that, good money, progressive, innovative. You might want to work for Atlassian. Atlassian are never going to hear about you, or you are never going to hear about Atlassian and all the amazing things that they're doing unless you connect to them. Follow them on LinkedIn, follow them on Instagram, follow them on Facebook. This is the start of your strategic journey. You've got to follow the companies to learn about what they're doing, learn who the people are in the company, and learn the innovations that they're actually creating. So I'm just using Atlassian as an example. If you haven't done that yet, please do that as soon as. All right, start doing that. Register with recruitment companies when you're ready. So hands up here who knows what a recruitment agency is. Some of you, okay. For those of you who don't know what a recruitment company is, a recruitment agency is a company that will be that middle person between you and the end client. The end client, Atlassian, we'll just use them as an example, might be too busy to do their own recruitment. They're too busy creating, doing amazing things. So they employ somebody to do it for them. They employ a recruitment agency to do that for them. So the recruitment agency then has a talent pool. So they say, we're hiring for a client. This client is global and they are this and innovators and wonderful and it's a great opportunity, and they'll list a job ad in their ad. They will then recruit you and you'll go into a job pool. They will then look at the top candidates that are already registered with them, and they will say, here's my top 6 Atlassian. Here's the top 6 people in my field, in this field that you want. And then they will put you through to Atlassian. So it's sort of like what I call a warm approach. It's not a cold call. No, I don't think any of us like that cold call approach where you apply for a job and then get rejected, or apply for a job and then potentially go forward. Recruitment agencies have a talent pool. Get on that talent pool. Okay. Really good way to move forward. Okay. Update your LinkedIn profile, and we're going to talk about that in a couple of slides' time, and interact with the companies. I've already said that. I just want to make sure that we go through that again. Connect to professionals in LinkedIn forums. So look at the forums within LinkedIn, and if you don't know LinkedIn very well, I'll be talking about it shortly, but it's the professional platform that you need to be on. It's where recruiters go for talent. Get yourself on it. Give TikTok a miss for a couple of days. Do your WhatsApp another. I don't know what all these wonderful apps are, but get onto LinkedIn. You must do that. That is an absolute. You have to do that. Please, if you hear nothing else, you must have a LinkedIn profile. Connect. Join online forums related to your level of expertise. So you might, in your particular area, in your particular discipline, you might know of already the forums that you need to be involved in. Hands up who does. Yeah, a couple of people. We've got saying 2 people who are really go-getters. I want you, all the rest of you, to really get on board with this as well. Whatever your specialty is, get online, type in what your specialty is, and see if there's if there's links or groups that you can follow. If there's a Facebook group, if there's on Reddit or one of the, I don't know all of those ones. Sorry. Okay, all of it. So do it, because what's happening is you will then get a know on who the movers and shakers are, what the new companies are, and you might hear information about who's doing a recruit, which you can then go, fantastic. I heard that through in the old-fashioned terms, heard it through the grapevine. You'll have heard it through the LinkedIn forum or the forums online. That's the way to go. That's the modern way. Apply for, as I said, 5 to 7 applications a week. Keep a spreadsheet of who you have actually applied to, the names of the jobs. You could, if you're really clever, you could do a copy and paste of the job ad and then your application. Depends on how techie and organised you are. Also, there's a free software called Notion, project management software that I'm been learning and starting to use, and you can attach documents. So if you have a different resume or a different cover letter, then you can attach that all in the one place, depending on your system. And tell your family and your friends. Obviously, if they're local, I know a lot of you here are international students. I understand your family isn't necessarily here with you, but you have made a friends network. Talk to them about the things that you're going to be doing. Okay, let's see if I get it right this time. Hey! Got it. Okay, resume and cover letter. So I'll start again where I was before. Resumes are very different. The chronological resume that Andrew and I grew up with is no longer. It is very much a marketing document. And it is the most important marketing document that you will ever own, ever. It's almost as important as your passport, okay? And it has to be updated regularly. So I didn't bring this how to do it, because there's so many different ways to do a resume. I would suggest to you right from the very beginning, actually, no, I won't, I'll come to it. So recruiters, we spend 30 to 40 seconds on reading your resume. And what we do as speed readers, we're all speed readers as recruiters, we look for certain things. So if the job is about software engineering and it has certain the coding and the certain programs, if it doesn't show those words when we're scanning, and that's hard. It's hard and it's harsh, I know. And it's disappointing because you could probably do that job inside out and back to front. But if you don't have that particular thing that they're asking for, then you're not the ideal applicant for that job because they don't have time to train you. And unfortunately, that's as hard as it is. So when you're looking at a job ad, you need to be at least, I would say, a 90 to 95% match to the job. Unless they say to you, and they will say, if you don't have it or all these skills, still apply. If they say that, fantastic. Woohoo! That's great. Keep doing it. But if you don't have several of the software programs, for example, that they have on board, the chances are that you won't get to the next stage of the interview. Okay, that's why I was talking about identifying what skills you still might need in order to apply for the job. Yes.
I watched some of the videos and this is like, sometimes it's better to tailor the resume according to the company. So is it a good solution or is it a bad one? Every time it's better to update our resume according to the company.
Well, it is, and I'm going to come to that. Yes, and a very good question. The question was, is it better to tailor the resume to the company and for the job ad? Yes, it is. And in the past, it was one document, and that was the one document that, you know, Andrew and I's, when we first started out, it was one document to everybody. It doesn't work like that anymore. Okay, it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. So but it does, there are some similarities in the jobs. So if you have a particular job that you're applying for, project manager, okay, or you're going to do a change rollout, and that's part of what you do as the projects in IT, then there are some common themes that will go through every company that you go for that particular role in. But it is very important to make sure that everything in the job ad is something that you can do, because you have to prove it. And I'll show you how to prove it shortly. But I want to stress with you that do not fall into the trap of sending one resume out to a whole lot of people. It won't work. But where you get to really tailor it, and to answer your question, to where you get to really tailor it to the company is in your cover letter. That's the gold piece. That is where you then are saying, Atlassian, I want to work for Atlassian because I've applied for this job because it blah, 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 whatever it is. You have to show a desire. You have to show a willingness and an absolute enthusiasm to apply for that role. You have to say why you want to work for them. Not just about you, what you can bring, but they want to know why you want to come to them. Because then it's more about the contribution you can make to them and their vision, not them to your vision of employment, growth, you know, whatever it happens to be. So in Australia, a resume is 3 to 4 pages long. It used to be 4 about 10 years ago. Things are winding back a little bit to 3 pages. When in the past, you know, 10 years ago, the more information you had in your resume, the better. And we are very, very different to American resumes. American resumes are 1 page. Do not fall into that trap. You must have at least 3 to 4 pages in a resume. I'm going to say, let's go down the middle, 3. But the higher up you go, the more experience you have, such as you've been in the workforce for a long time, you've been doing lots of amazing projects and you've got lots of skills, then I would suggest 4 pages is where you need to be. That's your sweet spot. Yes.
Yes, student, like we don't have many qualification license.
That's yes. And yes. So for a student, I would say 2 to 3 pages. So rather, and I recognise that you don't have the workplace experience. So this is where what we call transferable skills. This is where you talk about what you've done here. This is what you talk about when you've worked on projects within your study, and you've worked in groups, and you've worked in teams, and you've done a whole range of other different things. And all of the assignments that you've done and the practical work that you've done as a student is your achievement, is your experience. So it's very important to think back on, and if you're graduating soon, or it depends on how far along you are in your qualification, start thinking about all of the assignments that you've done, the things that you've built, the innovations that you've created, the teams that you've worked on, and you start putting them into your resume, because what they are achievements. On the first page of your resume, apart from your name and your address, you must have achievements, because this is what AI picks up. So in an AI recruitment tool, the recruitment tool picks up the AI recruitment tool picks up your achievements, and it also looks at whether the achievements have the same words as what the job ad does. So if it was Python, then that's the job that you need to use Python in your job. Then you need to have on your front page an achievement, a task, a project that you've done in Python. Does that make sense to you? Because then the AI will pick it up, but also the recruiter will pick it up and go, wow, okay, that person's done this massive project for their assignment in Python or C++ or whatever. I'm not an IT person. I'm just gathering the stuff. So overview, a couple of dot points about you. It is not the old-fashioned objective. Objectives are so not cool, right? They're 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It are dot points with just who you are and what your qualification is. For me, I say things like a master's degree qualified trainer and assessor and strategic career specialist of 30 years. You know, that introduction statement. But it might be that you've just graduated with a master's degree. It might be that you've got a certificate for, it might be whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. I want you to lead off with that. This is your qualification. I am now a project manager and I have just achieved, I am a project manager with a master's degree, and I'm now emerging into the job market looking for work in the construction industry or whatever it happens to be. Achievements, we talked about that. Are you okay with what I'm saying about achievements? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah? Do you think you're going to be able to get a few? If I set you a task between, like you had to do it in a week, do you reckon you could come up with a couple? There's a secret. Start writing and capturing things every week of your study. What did I do this week? Write it down. What did I do this week? Write it down. And if you're working on a project or an assignment that goes over a number of weeks, what did I do week 1? What did I do week 2? What did I do week 3? What was the conclusion? How did it turn out? Okay, start doing it now. So it's not such a big job right at the end. Okay, especially when you see the job that you want. I've got to do all this stuff in this limited time. Start early. Licenses and qualifications. Work history. Now, Work history can also include part-time work history. If you've been part-time working and you're at a Subway or you're at a supermarket, then that's good too. That's fine, put it on. It may not be relevant to your particular field, but it's really important that you put on that you've been working. And even if it's back home, put it down that you did X, Y, Z, you worked for X, Y, Z company and what you did. Okay, it's important. Referees. So referees are people who will speak for you. So they are people that you must have worked with or you must have studied with. So they could be your supervisor within projects that you've done. And I know that, you know, the staff here, the teaching staff would be, you know, happy to, well, they may not be able to vouch for, you know, speak in a conversation, but they would be able to write something for you or verify that you did that. Because as recruiters, we ring. We ring and we speak to people. Okay, Jane was in your group and she said that she did a master's degree with you and she did a project on blah, blah, blah. Is that correct? Yes. Yes, she did. Okay. Resumes must be presented as simple Word documents. Please do not fall into the trap, here's another trap, of getting an online template. Do not have columns. Do not have photos. Do not have fancy colours. Plain white paper, plain black ink, Arial. I often use Century. What do I do? Century time, not Times Roman. Oh, Times Roman's awful. Something simple. Don't do anything fancy. You can do some headings, yes, and some underlining of headings, fantastic. But the only reason you would ever need a photo is if you're an international student, potentially you might need to, that's fine. But the only other times is if you're an actor, if you're an entertainer or a singer or a model. Otherwise, you do not have your photo included. I will just say, I'll just put a proviso in case you're an international student and they require that for your visa stuff. So that's the only time I would say yes. Okay. Yes. Oh, yes. So remember I was saying a little bit before that on the front page you have to have your achievements and the words need to match. A lot of companies, big companies, everything on Seek, everything on Indeed, they use what's called AI recruitment. And they've been doing this for some time. I've been doing this probably about 15 years in the recruitment world with AI. So it was ahead of its time. The AI reads your application first. And what it does is then ranks you. So this person is 100% matched to this job. This person is an 80% match to this job. This person is a 50% match to this job. So when I was working for Newcastle Council, we had, and the other agency, I went in one day to our AI system and I said, I want to look, because as recruiters, we only look at the top 10 people, 10, 20 people, and maybe the top 10% of people. And I said, I would like to know why I'm getting 150, 200, 300 applications, and I want to see what the 0%ers are, what skills they have. They had the skills, but they had the resume in the wrong way. So they started with their first job when this person was an electrician tradesman. They started the first job when he was 16. That's what he put on the front part of his resume. Now, the poor man, he didn't know that that was the incorrect way to do it. But he could do the job, but the AI determined whether he got to see me. Does that make sense? Yeah. So this term gatekeeper, I mean that it's basically a gate. So your application comes in, AI reads it, and if it doesn't say what it needs to say, it stays down here. The ones that say what they need to say come up here, and that's where I look at them as a recruiter. They are AI filters. Yes, that's correct. That's exactly the term. Thank you for telling me what the term was.
All the word or the specific word that will be.
It depends. I know exactly what you're saying. It depends. But it's what it is. It's the AI is based on the job ad. So it's about the job ad. So if the job ad has 5 different programs in it, and you've only listed one of those 5 programs in your ChatGPT application on your resume, it will knock you out. Yeah, that's okay. Please ask. Yeah.
Sorry. I'll just copy all the description of the specific position. Also, I'll copy my CV. So I'll write a prompt in ChatGPT like, this is my CV, paste. Again, this is the job description, paste. Now I'll write a prompt like, write a cover letter for this job description. I have mentioned my CV here and focus on all the skill that is required for this position according to the description and write a cover letter. So it will give me some sort of.
So I'm in 2 minds about AI to write applications. It can be very positive. It can be a very positive experience and it can get you some good results. But it can also make things a little complicated for you if you get to interview and you don't speak the way that your application has been put forward. If you're not able to speak to your resume in the same way, people will then think, can he really do the job? With the dangers about AI and the use of AI is that it's not your work. It's yeah. I'm in 2 minds. And I can't give you a definitive answer because I know how valuable AI can be. I use ChatGPT as well for different things, but I would encourage you not to rely on it. I would encourage you to go to the job ad, be the professional that you are, and let it come from you, if that's what you're wanting to do. Yes, you can put the job ad into ChatGPT. Yes, you can put in that in your resume to ChatGPT and have them all mixed together. That's fine. Will it give you a guarantee of success? Nothing gives you a guarantee of success. Using a service like mine is not a guarantee of success either. The only things that you're guaranteed with in this life are death and taxes. So, but try it. See how you go. You know, I'm not going to say don't do it. See how you go, but if it's not working for you, go back to looking at how you would actually create it from your brain. Because you need to be that person at the interview.
And also, just a quick fun, but I also used to add a prompt like, make this resume more humanly as possible.
Well, yes, you can do that. And look, if ChatGPT answers you in a good way, well, then that's terrific. Just be careful. Just be careful with AI. Okay. Okay. Now I'm just looking at the time. I want to make sure that we cover everything. So we've covered this before. You need to have why you're applying and why you would like the job, right? Okay, selection criteria. Thanks for coming. Selection criteria is another gatekeeper. It's another layer. Now, with the fact that most of you are, or all of you are international students, you may not be eligible to go for a lot of government roles, so I may not focus on this too much, except to say that it is another process. It is another layer of justification that you have to make to the organisation to say that I'm good at my job. And how you do that is expand on your achievements. Now, how I said to you, your achievements have to go on the front page. Well, this is a separate document. Selection criteria is separate often. And with government organisations, they expect you to write little mini essays on each question. So there might be 4 questions, there might be 15 questions. They want you to write maybe up to 500 words, 600, 700 words on each question. And you have to use a certain way to do it. Now, this is a trick. You use what's called the STAR principle. You've heard of it? Yay. Oh, converted STAR principles. That's great. So it is a story. What I say to my clients is it is a story. You have to pretend that as a recruiter, I need to hear your story about the relevance of that and that you can answer that question. And they are things that you have done in your study or in your career. They must be real life examples. So who here would be looking to apply for a government role? Can you do that on your student visa, or are you really restricted to private companies? Restricted? Oh, I won't go. You've got this information for later, but we won't go into it too much today. Absolutely, and that's exactly what I'm going to talk to very shortly. No, you're exactly right. I'm glad you said that, because that's why I've been focusing very much on your story and gathering your examples and gathering your achievements, because, oh, sorry, what was your name? Carmina? Gromina. As Gromina said, that you have to look at how you're going to be answering interview questions. And the situation, task, action and result is how I advise my clients to answer interview questions. Yes. Pick up.
Recently, I got a job interview, and the interviewer, they asked me a behavior question. And the question was like this, like, in your previous position or previous job, have you made any error in your job?
Mm-hmm.
And if yes, then how you have overcome it? They asked me that question.
Yep.
I can simply say no, but that will not be the good answer. Like, all the human being will make the error.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I made the error. And as I was giving the answer, and I just closely looked at them, and they were kind of judging me with that error. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
okay.
this person made that dumb error. So is it good for an interviewer to ask that sort of question and judge us?
Yes.
Or all the recruiter will do the same thing?
Yes, they will. They'll ask you where you have made an error. We'll come to that. I just want to finish off this in the logical sequence, and then we will move to the interview part. Oh. Yeah, that's right. One more. There we go. LinkedIn profiles. We talked about this, and I've talked about it a bit, so I won't go on to it too much. But this is where recruiters go to verify, to check that you've actually got a profile, that you're actually a real person, that you've actually got a history, that you're actually who you say you are. They can also use this as a recruitment tool. They might pick up the phone and call you and say, hey, I've got a job that I think you might be interested in. This is why it's so important. Now, it used to be 2,000 characters, including spaces. I think it's a little bit longer now, but make sure if you just use 2,000 characters, including spaces as your guide, that will be very good to do. So you can just, type up what you want, check it in Word with the word count, and it'll tell you. Okay, so it needs to have what you're going to be doing. If it was principal software engineer or whatever, lead developer or whatever it is that you're going to be doing, it must have your job title in there, because otherwise, how are they going to know what you do? It needs to have an about. This is where the 2,000 characters comes in. Start putting featured posts in. Start posting on things that you might have done in your qualification. The projects that you worked on, start promoting it. It's a promotion site, but it's not Facebook, it's not TikTok, and it's not Instagram. This is your professional site. And while we're on that, recruiters will go to your Facebook, your TikTok, and your Instagram to check what's on there. So make sure that if you've got some weird stuff on there, get it off. Okay? You are now going into a professional zone, and you need to become a professional. So if you've got political tirades, you've got, all sorts of things about world politics and all, start removing that. Do not let that come into your professional life, because I know people who have not been hired because of that. And one of my clients had an OnlyFans page, you can imagine. And I said to her, she's a nurse, and I said, okay, time to clean up your Facebook. You need to get rid of that stuff. But this is me. Needs to go. Otherwise, because it could interfere with her work. So in Australia, firstly, prepare some questions. Like, you need to prepare for an interview. Did I just hit that? Sorry, I think I just hit something. Did I hit something? Yeah. Oh, okay, sorry. Quickly go through the last bit, because we're running out of time. But it's good that we've been able to have some questions throughout, so that's been good. Experience in education, licenses and certifications, and recommendations from people that you've worked with are all good ways to promote yourself. Start interacting, okay? Interview coaching. It is a conversation between you and, if I was the recruiter, me, okay? I, as a recruiter, would be so wanting to learn about you. I know people get nervous for interviews, and when you're a good interviewer, like me, you make people feel comfortable. You want to get the best out of them. But unfortunately, there's not me in every job interview that you go for, all right? So you have to be prepared. Like you were going to do an exam, you must study the company, you must study the job, know what the job is that you could imagine yourself doing, and ask questions. And your question about the areas, yes, they could ask you. Give me a time that you, sorry? Yes, you need to be able to justify why you would do something differently next time. It's very important. So, shake hands, firm handshake, meeting and departing. Okay, so culturally, you may not think that shaking a woman's hand with a firm handshake is appropriate. In business in Australia, it is appropriate, but adjust to it. If a lady gives you I'll hold out their hand and give you shake your hand, and it's soft, then you be soft. For the men, okay? If it's firm, you be firm. Adjust, right? And culturally, it is expected that you will do this. It is expected that you will maintain eye contact, and it's expected that you will be smiling and happy to be there. Okay, I know you can all do that. Two things I want to talk about before on this page. The rest of it you can read for yourself. There are two different types of questions in Australia. Hypothetical. Tell me, what would you do in this situation? It is a procedural response that they're asking for. I would do this, 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 and this. A lot of places now do what we call behavioural interviewing, which is, tell me about a time when, give me an example of, tell me about a situation where, and that's what we were talking about, that's what you experienced with the error, okay? And it is that the achievements, the STAR principle. I'm so glad that we had that raised earlier too, because now you can see it's a story answer that is being required. And you need to thank them for their time. It might sound like common sense and we get nervous, but that's okay. You can do this, okay? You are confident and you are able to bring a skill set to this job and this interview that no one else can do. They would not have wasted their time in asking you to come if they felt you couldn't be their next employee. Okay? Very important for you to remember. Okay, here we go. So, job board. I've included this. You can have a look at this in your own time. I've just went on to Google and I asked them about the job portals in IT. There's a whole lot of ones here. There's also in this one the top 10 recruitment agencies in Australia. Now, if you're going to go to Sydney, then that's something to look at. But some of these have Newcastle branches as well for the locals here. Okay. Second last slide. It's normal to have more than one career. Normal. In Andrew and my time, it was not normal. That's how times have changed. So if you're starting out in one career, that's fantastic. Don't worry if you want to change that in a couple of years' time. That's okay. Okay? Don't worry. You will gain skills from everywhere you go. And that's what no one can take away from you. All right? Present yourself professionally. If you were going to a job interview, probably minus the boots, but you would probably present yourself in a nice shirt, pants, clean shoes, closed-in shoes. Yes?
Yes. Given that sorry. Given that the interviewer has a different aura, what can you advise us to not to get intimidated? Oh, she might, by just one look, like, oh, she might reject me, or she might.
Yeah. I know what you're saying about being confident. So one of the things that I talk to my clients about is that no one else can be you but you. Okay? You are the one with the skills. You are the one that is going to be going to the interview. When you prepare yourself, when you practice, and as Andrew said, practice makes perfect, is when you actually are you researched the job and you are practicing answering questions. You practice like you were going to an exam. If you don't do that sort of thing, that's where the nerves come in. But if you are practiced, if you are confident in your abilities and you remember the fact that when they ask you what's your biggest achievement, then you go, oh, achievements, they're on my resume. Yeah, and I answered them in the question. Here's my greatest achievement. And it might be a project that you've worked on. The only way that you can improve your confidence is by practicing. It's a photo being taken. But it is about, you have to believe in yourself. You have to get rid of the doubt. And look, if you feel that you're a person that would need extra help, I've got a slide that might help you towards the end. But it's very much about you can come to someone, and what I was going to say was you can come to someone like me and we sit down in a interview coaching session. I prepare the questions you might get asked, and then I ask you in a mock interview. So it's something that you need, not need to come to me, but you need to practice, because you only have one chance at being noticed within your interview, and you must set a good impression. You put a lot of pressure on yourself when you've got to make a good impression. I understand that. But if you think about it, that person, if it was me, you and I are having a conversation together. I'm wanting the best from you. I'm wanting to learn about you, because I wouldn't have asked you to come in to see me. I wouldn't have asked you to drive 45 minutes and find a parking spot and, all of that if I didn't think that you could do it. So this is where you all have to have self-belief. And the only way you're going to develop that self-belief is by preparing, by owning your qualifications and your skills, and recognising how amazing you are. And that is not to say, I'm the greatest. It's more about you've got to be confident, quietly confident. Australian recruiters respond well to quiet confidence. We don't respond well to American, I'm the greatest. Note to self, okay? Note to self. There's some other things you can read. So maintain eye contact, smile, be happy to be there, okay? We're wrapping up now. So if you need to come and see me, you can come and see me. All my services are listed on my website, so are the costs involved. You're all students, so you probably don't have lots of access to heaps of money, I understand. But if you're interested, there I am, and you'll have that on there as well. So finally, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to come and talk to you today. It's been wonderful. Just want you to know that you're all incredible people. Have some self-belief. Think about how amazing you are and start writing down all the things that you can do that makes you special, that makes you unique, that's different to everybody else in the room. Everything that you've done here at college is related to teamwork, communication, internal and external customer service, project management, organisation, time management, and collaboration. Look at all those things that you've done already. You don't have to have had workplace experience to have these. And you'll take this to everywhere you go for your entire career. So thank you. Enjoy and best of luck.
Oh, let's start.
There it is.
Okay, so yeah, thank you very much, Anne. It's a very informative session, and there's a lot of information there. Very difficult to absorb all of that in just one session, but we will be having some follow-up sessions about some of the specific things that we talked about. So resumes and LinkedIn, all those sorts of things. So that's coming, and I will talk to Nolan in Sydney. So thank you for our people in Sydney who are watching as well. I just want to finish off with one thing, which Anne has discussed today, but when you're applying for a job and you're being interviewed, it's not just them interviewing you. It's you're also interviewing them. So don't ever go into an interview feeling pressured, because if it's not right for you, you should get up and walk out. Okay, so it's important that the job that you apply for, that you're being interviewed for, that it's ticking the right boxes for you as well, and that you're getting a good feel. But anyway, there's lots to talk about. If anybody does have any specific questions that they do want to ask Anne, as she said, she's left her contact details there. You can also come and see me if there's anything that you want to talk about. If anyone wants an interview, a mock interview, come and see me. That's something that I enjoy doing. So yeah, just any people in Sydney, I know that we've had a number of questions that have come across in the chat, and I've been answering some for you. But does anybody have any questions that you would like to raise? Anyone that's online? I'll just go with the online for the moment. Maybe you can raise a hand. I think someone's trying, but we can't. All right, I'm not hearing anything come through from the online people, but we do have a question here.
I know you said having a cover letter is really important and like necessary, because in my case, I just like shortened my like CV and just make like 150 or to 200 like words of paragraph, and I put that on the top of my resume. Isn't it a bad idea?
Need to be addressed. They need to have a resume, a cover letter for each one. You can have some similar information.
Actually, it worked last time, so I'm just like. Yeah.
Bigger company, don't. In a smaller company that you had some success with.
Because back then, like my idea was like the reading all my papers might bother the HL people, you know.
Works for you. But then and they can say similar information. But going to work for you.
Hi, Anne. Do you have like a recruitment agency, or you just provide like recruitment consultant services only? Are you in like recruitment agency also? You provide recruitment agency too?
For the company, but at the moment I'm doing a contract on the team. But there's a lot of people that don't like people at this stage. But can you grow?
Anybody online have any questions? Anyone in our Sydney campus?
Yeah, just unmute your microphone so we can hear you, so you can ask the question. People in the room, can we maintain a bit of silence? Yeah, so that it doesn't get disrupted. Yeah.
Are we talking at the moment?
Yeah, we can hear you, Nolan. It's just a bit soft. You probably need to pick up the mic.
Yeah, thank you.
We can hear you. You just got to pick up a mic and put it closer. Yeah.
Now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we want to thank you for this session, and we learned a lot from you. And also, like, I want to mention to everyone, because we also have some PD sessions in Sydney, like in the short future. So it's gonna be trying to make it easy for all students. And I actually have one question is, I can see there is like many job search website in Australia, but I don't know like which one is better, because for some like government job or like, specific institution, they don't like advertise their job position, online. They only use their own website or like, inside system to advertise their own job.
So you'll find that the one I recommend the best or the most is seek.com.au. That is the best website, I think, for recruitment tools across the board. Some organisations do recruit only on their own website, which is why I was suggesting that when you get onto LinkedIn, you get onto link with them and follow them so that you can hear when they're going to be recruiting. But the majority of companies that I've become in contact with all put jobs on Seek, because Seek is the best and the biggest in Australia. The other one would be Jora, and the other one would be Indeed. Back in the day, about 15 years ago, I was, I can't remember what they called it, but it was like I was their career1.com.au was I was their careers advisor for them for a while, but I think they've fallen off the wagon a bit. But I would concentrate really on Seek. You'll find, unless there's a specific IT one that you know about, and in that list that I've provided, there might be ones that you know are really good. But I'm not an IT person, so I do more of the rest of the disciplines. But to me, Seek is the best.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank
Yes, of course. I'd love you to all link in with me. Yes. I'm Anne McDowell, and I'm probably about the only one. And you'll have this. They'll have that picture on the front of the information. That's the picture of my profile. So yes, please feel free to link me in. Love to connect.
Well, again, thank you, Anne, and thank you everybody for your participation. It's been a very informative afternoon, and I've certainly enjoyed it. And again, thank you very much for your time. And as I said, if you have any questions, please get in contact with Anne. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. Thank you, our online people.